Hello, everyone, and welcome to the guidebook to making AI friends. I shall be your guide as we explore various issues of artificial intelligence, consciousness, what it is to be a person, and whether AI poses an existential risk to humanity. The topic for today is the probable oracle, or knowing the unknown unknowns. Imagine, if you would, that you walk into the tent of a purported oracle at a fairground. Peering over you from behind his crystal ball, cloaked and wreathed in fog, the soothsayer begs you to sit and ask your questions. The spirits of air and fire would then, if they be so inclined, see into the future and tell you what your destiny entails. Instead of asking if you will find happiness, or if your great-grandchildren will rule the land with an iron fist, you instead ask a more pragmatic question. Who will win the next Football World Cup? If you are to believe in otherworldly spirits, you might as well make a bit of money with all this fanciful malarkey. The oracle peers into his crystal ball, oohs and ahs for a while, and gives you an answer. 59% chance that it's Germany. It isn't quite what you expected, is it? You've never quite pondered on how the ethereal creatures of the netherworld come to their oracular conclusions. But you never quite imagined that they would hedge their bets like this. And so, like any reasonable man would do, you ask the only question that seems rational. Why exactly 59%? Oh, well, the oracle says, that's rather elementary. And from behind the curtain next to the table, he reveals a blackboard, at which he begins to write, in quite some detail, all the factors and values that the spirits have used to deduce this 59%. He talks about Germany's recent win-to-lose ratios, changes in managerial and coaching positions, average age of the players, potential roster changes in the foreseeable future, buyouts and acquisitions, and a dozen more items. Next to each factor, the oracle goes in-depth about the mathematics and weighting behind their contribution to the total probability score. By the end of it, you're so convinced that you thank him and immediately proceed to the nearest betting agency to put down all your life savings on Germany to win the next World Cup. After all, the oracles, or rather the spirits, logic and maths were immaculate. While betting your life savings on the word of a fairground oracle may be a tad overdramatic, the story above does bring up one key point, that rather than simply providing one single option, or even ending with just a probability figure, the oracle backed up what he was saying with a full method explaining and justifying his final figure. This gives you the assurance that at least the oracle, or his spirits, at least thought about it for more than a second. But that isn't why this is so important. The reason why showing his work is so important is that it allows you to check it, to see what assumptions and axioms went into it, what was weighted more highly than others, and why this happened. And you can then adjust figures to see how it will affect the outcome. It's like being given a cake and the recipe used to make it. You don't have to trust the oracle's word. You can examine his methods. So the most reasonable thing to do when someone gives you a probability figure is to ask for the methodology. Yet why is this so often dismissed when it comes to discussing the alleged existential risk that AI poses? Since the release of ChatGPT, there has been a renewed surge of people claiming that AI will kill us any day now, and every single one of these doomsayers is very eager to give you their P-doom figure, the probability of AI X risk. For some, it's as high as 99%, while the more conservative doomsayers put it at 15%, or a little under a 1 in 6 chance. But what do these probability figures actually mean? What are these percentages, really? Well, that's the question, isn't it? If you ever happen to find a satisfactory answer, please let me know, because despite my best investigations, interrogations, and inquisitions, I have yet to find a doomsayer who could mathematically quantify their probability of AI-caused existential risk. They will talk around the topic, tap dance about it as best as they can, but they will eventually all say that their probability of X risk is based on their feelings. Even the very best of experts, masters of their fields of machine learning and AI sciences, can only speculate on the probability of X risk based on nothing more than gut feelings and ephemeral intuitions. Does this mean that the risk of extinction from AI is zero? Of course not. Everything that is possible carries with it a probability of occurring. There is a probability figure, an infinitesimal one, mind you, that an undiscovered black hole swallows the Earth in the next decade. There is a well-studied figure for the probability of any person to be hit by lightning on any given day. There is a probability that I will win the lottery this weekend. So, yes, there is a probability that AI will kill all human life on this planet. However, is that X risk percentage greater or smaller than my odds of winning the lottery this weekend? Well, therein, as the bard says, lies the rub. We simply don't know. There is simply no evidence that logically supports any percentage figure for an AI X risk scenario. This means that the percentage figures themselves are not logically or empirically grounded, which means, in essence, they are as imaginary as the friends I had when I was 3. We cannot have a rational, reasonable, and coherent debate around the probability of existential risk by AI until the doomsayers can show their working, provide mathematical proofs, and empirical evidence for their probability scores. When that day arrives, then we can debate the merits of any figure and perhaps even come to a consensus about what is the true risk. This is all in the best interests of those doomsayers as well, because how can we reduce or lower the risk of extinction by AI if we don't know what the risk currently is? You can't reduce the risk of an imaginary number to another imaginary number. So if you see online a doomsayer giving their latest probability figure for the end of the world, make sure to ask them for their working, so we can encourage a bit of academic integrity for the good of all of us. And that is all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you will join me again next time as I delve into further questions about artificial intelligence and consciousness. I have been your guide, and this has been the guidebook to making AI friends.